everyone. Happy Wednesday and welcome to another episode of Quotes to Live By from Inspirational Goods. I'm Lauren, and each week I pick a quote that hopefully gives you some inspiration or motivation to think about through your week. This week I picked a quote that I couldn't find who it was attributed to. It's kind of a generalized, I think, life lesson. But the quote is, "The one who fails and gets up is so much stronger than the one who never fell." And I just want you to think about your life for a minute and the moments that you've really learned lessons and grown. I don't think many of us have really learned too many lessons in the moments that we have huge success and everything goes perfectly and there's no struggle. When you really think about your life, at least I know in my life, the moments that I've really grown were the moments that I failed or I struggled and I learned a lesson from them or I was hurt. It's not in these little moments that everything seems to be going fine and your life's perfect. It's in the moments that you're struggling or you're hurt or you're facing failure and you get up that builds your strength. And I think that's probably true for many of you too, if you really think about it. So I think, we need to start thinking about failure and pain as developing courage and resiliency and where we really grow, and it's not such a negative thing, and we shouldn't be fearful of trying new things and making mistakes, because in the end, if we fail, it's really where we grow. It's how we become stronger. It's how we get a perspective on life in a new way and face struggle and face things that may be obstacles for us in the future. And I just always like to share my biggest story, I think, that I've learned when I was a little younger, as far as how strong you are and that your body and your mind can go so much longer than you think it can. I had trained for my first marathon. I was running the Philadelphia Marathon, and I ran it with my dad because he was into distance running at the time. And I was in college, and it was my first really long run. So I trained, I felt really great, and I was ready to run that day. And I remember running, I felt good up until about mile 20 in the marathon. And then all of a sudden I felt like my breathing was fine, but my legs were not functioning. I felt like I couldn't move the way I should be moving. My legs weren't functioning the way I wanted them to. And if you're familiar with the Philadelphia Marathon, you hit mile 20 right in Manayunk before you turn around, just this sharp curve before you go back the last 6 miles of the marathon to the art museum steps, is where, or in that general area is where you finish. So I remember making this turn at mile 20, and all of a sudden my body just collapsed and I just fell to the ground. I didn't have control over my legs or anything. And people rushed to me and were trying to give me anything that they could to drink or eat that they had on hand, the spectators there. So I got back up and started walking and moving, and kept going along. And then probably I could see the finish line in the distance, and I said to my dad, "Okay, let's push it in to finish." And probably 20 feet right before the finish line, my body, as soon as I exerted that last bit of energy, I just collapsed right before the finish line again. And I remember the people from the Track and Field Association coming and asking if they needed help to carry me over the finish line. And my dad ended up kind of carrying me with one arm over his shoulder across the finish line, and I finished the run. And at the time I was upset about it because I trained for it and I wanted to finish in a certain time that I didn't do it. But looking back, and it was one of probably the biggest life lessons I've learned for myself through running and through that race and failing basically for what I thought I was going to do, even though I finished. I realized that my body could go on way longer than I thought it could, to the point where I couldn't even, move that much anymore. And that I kind of take that through life, that I'm strong mentally because I could go through that pain, just physically with my body and struggling through that race in 26, miles. So I take that as a lesson in my life, that you can go further than you think you can. Your body can go on, your mind can go on much longer than you think you can, and you can always get up from failure and do it again. So I just hope that all of you take this as a lesson in your life, and think about the struggles you've been through and how much it's made you stronger. And I hope that you don't quit because you failed, because that only builds you up and makes you stronger. So hopefully this is something that you can think about this week. And I just want to encourage you that, just keep trying and don't fail, because through failure is what makes you really brave and have courage and strengthens you. So thank you for tuning in this week, and I look forward to seeing you again next week with another episode of Quotes to Live By. Bye, everyone. Take care.